Hey friends, Derek from TCI here, and I'm going to take a little break from doing the serious networking stuff to doing something fun. One of the things I have the fondest memories of is playing video games in the backseat of a car as we drove up and down the East Coast Turnpike. I got a lot of playtime out of my old Game Boy, and ever since then, I've never met a handheld gaming system that I didn't purchase. For today's video, I have two different systems in front of me. One is the OLED SteamDeck, and the other is this Anbernic RG556 Android retro gaming handheld. I've had a desire lately to share my love of retro games with my two children, so I thought it would be fun to network these two devices together so that they could play two-player games with each other and experience the same frustration that I had with my brother whenever he would steal my lives in Contra. So in order to play emulated games, such as the NES system, across two different platforms such as these, I'm going to utilize a program called RetroArch. RetroArch supports untold numbers of different platforms that we can run together on these two systems. Some of them, but not all, can be played over the network as two-player systems. One person hosts the game, and the other acts as the player 2 controller. Now for this demonstration, we have to make a couple little tweaks mostly to this Anbernic. The Anbernic comes preloaded out of the box with a ton of emulators in it, and we need to make a small adjustment when you're about to start one of your ROMs up. We need to make sure that we're using the correct emulator. So when I've got the system going like this, pressing the select key while you're playing when you're in the front end, not while you're playing, but when you're about to launch a game from the front end, pressing select pops open a menu that you can change which emulator you're running or which core you're running in order to play that game. So I'm going to suggest for you that if you want to play over the network wirelessly with your friends, use the QuickNess core. So I'm going to set that as the core that I'm currently using, and then that'll be what launches in order for us to get this going properly. Now on my SteamDeck, I've also got RetroArch loaded on this. In order for these two systems to network, they have to agree on which core they're using. So on my SteamDeck, I will also be using the QuickNess core. Now, in order for these two things to communicate properly, let's discuss for just a second how the emulation works. What happens is that whichever system is the host loads the ROM into its memory and starts up the emulated Nintendo Entertainment System. It emulates the RAM, the video RAM, the controller, the storage, all that good stuff. When my SteamDeck joins the game, what will happen is they'll briefly sync up their RAM, video RAM, and controller and storage. And then after that has been established, all that happens is the inputs that I press on my SteamDeck get sent to the Anbernic, and the inputs that the Anbernic is seeing get sent to the SteamDeck. Theoretically, that'll keep the two players moving together, but they independently emulate what's happening, and it can happen once in a while that the games will get out of sync. So having a nice, fast Wi-Fi setup is really important for this to work efficiently. Hey gang, to that end, I've got a brand new Unify U7 Pro Wi-Fi 7 access point. This thing does quite a bit better of a job than the Wi-Fi 5 access point that used to be right there. Don't worry, we're going to toss that ceiling tile very soon. So if you've got a clean 5 gigahertz signal in your area, gaming should be no problem. Let's get back down there. Now, if you've never loaded RetroArch on your particular SteamDeck, I'm going to link a video in the description that covers that. It's not made by me, it's just something I followed along with. It works fantastically. Once RetroArch is on your system, you just have to launch it and press play, and you're good to go. I've got custom homebrew ROMs that I've paid for and downloaded, and I've done that because I don't want to show me pirating anything, and I'd like to support the homebrew people that are still making games for these older systems. It's really cool, actually, of them to do that. So a good two-player game that I found is called Space Gulls. I'll link to that in the description if you want to try it out. It's essentially a mix of, I would say, Bubble Bobble, Joust, and a little bit of Metroid where you're maze finding, you're searching your way around. And it works great as a 2-player game, so I'm going to give it to my children and see what they think of it. In order to get these things to network, one of your systems must start the game. I'm going to use my Anbernic as the host, so I'm going to simply launch the Space Skulls game. Once the game is running, what I need to do is just start hosting a network-aware game. So in order to do that on the Anbernic, you're going to press the function button here, and then you're going to end up inside of the RetroArch menu. Press the home button here, scroll down to Netplay, and then in Netplay, just choose Host. That's all you have to do. Now you can back out. Now on your SteamDeck, when you launch RetroArch, you'll already be in that menu. The Anbernic has a nice front end, whereas on the SteamDeck, vanilla RetroArch does not have a front end. So what you'll want to do is use the menu, go down to Netplay, then refresh Netplay for the LAN. Tapping that should show one anonymous device, and if you read the details, it'll actually say that it's an Android system, so you know you've got the right one. When you join your two systems together, there'll be a brief hiccup while they exchange information and get synced up at the very beginning, and then after that, this system is simply player 2, and this system is player 1. All of the inputs, there we go. So all of the inputs that happen on this one get matched up on the SteamDeck. There's even a message that says press A for player 2 to join. So if player 2 presses A, now we've got player 2 moving around. Emulation will be synced up entirely based around our inputs. So if the Wi-Fi signal starts to break down, or I get too far away from my access point or something like that, and there's too much latency and a little bit of mismatch happens where we don't get a message quick enough, our games will start to diverge. So I might see something happening on one system that's not happening on the other. That can happen really easily, that you can get desynced like that. And if that happens, you have to reconnect as player 2 in order to sync up again.
What am I doing? Oh my god! We're so bad at this.
Yeah, just skip that one and go straight up.
Might as well. Hey. Oh, this. It's fun to fight them.
No. No. Oh my god.
Well, giving it to my kids went about as well as I thought it would. If you're not dying and having a lot of frustration from little kids, I think you're not really playing an 8-bit system, are you? Well, I'm going to bang on this for a little while, do some experimenting, see what kind of fun things I can come up with. I hope if you've not had a chance to try Netplay with a sibling on a retro emulation system, that you give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. I will see you guys again real soon. We'll do more serious work, but for now, have fun this weekend playing some games. I'll see you in the next one.